Well, hello, my paranormal peeps, and welcome back to another Deep Woods Paranormal podcast. My name is Matt Harvey. I am the founder and lead investigator with Deep Woods Paranormal. My wife and I, along with others, investigate everything paranormal in nature. Every week, we will discuss everything from creepy haunted locations to ghosts to Bigfoot, UFOs, Dogman, and other cryptid creatures, and explore all things paranormal in nature. Well, hello, my paranormal peeps, and welcome back. Today we've got an amazing guest on. She's a psychic, and her name is Cindy. She's been experiencing paranormal activity her whole life. Kind of reminds me a little bit of me, but she's got some cool, crazy stories. I've been able to have conversations with her off and on for the last couple of months, and she wants to come on and share her story with you. So, welcome on, Cindy. If you would do me a favor and kind of tell us a little bit about yourself, and tell us kind of where your paranormal experiences started.
Well, my actual name is Cynthia K. Catron. I had a paranormal experience my family did back in the late 1970s. My dad, this is how we're getting to the Bigfoot story. My dad had a UFO experience and he was going to Brownsburg, Indiana to visit a friend. And he had a little Dachshund puppy in his car and a UFO was hovering above him and it held him hostage for about an hour. And then he saw the people and places of that time begin to change back to 1956 or 1957. As the people passed by him in the car, they could not see, hear, or hear him, but he could hear and see them. So this went on for about an hour or so until finally my dad and the dog both passed out from exhaustion. And so the next thing he knew when he regained consciousness, he was on the interstate. He was parked along the berm. And when he realized where he was, he drove the rest of the way home and he told mom that night when he got home, he said, I don't know how I ever made it home. And he said the last thing he remembers when mom asked him what happened was he said he saw a gray, dark skinned alien about 5 feet tall with almond eyes staring in at him through the driver's side of the window. And when he looked down at his hands, they were getting kind of British color, like they had been exposed to heat or something. And it took him about a week before the soreness went away, but luckily he was okay. It was just a bunch of rash burn. But anyway, when he got home that night, it was terrifying. After supper, somebody was knocking on the door. And he thought it was the men in black, and he refused to answer the door. And this is how the UFO experience started, our Bigfoot experience. They couldn't answer the door the rest of the night. So about a weekend later, we decided to go to 50 Park, State Park in Indiana. And it's beautiful down there by the falls. When you're by the falls, it almost looks like you step back in time. Well, here's our story. After lunch, we took our two dogs, Sandy and another dog that we had recently acquired, and she was a black and white dog, and her name was Backyard Day because we found her in her backyard. She was a stray and nobody claimed her, so luckily we got to keep her. She's about a 2-year-old, and she fit in well with her family because we had 4 cats and 1 parakeet. Well, anyway, we were walking along the trail, and all of a sudden there was a white portal like a mist, and we felt like we stepped back in time because the airplanes, we could no longer hear them in that time portal. It was like we actually did step back into the pre-Indian days or prehistoric times. And anyway, we saw this Bigfoot family. It was beginning to rain, and the father and the mother were trying to start a fire, and the mother Bigfoot seemed to be very heavily pregnant, like she was about ready to give birth any minute. And there was an older daughter, Bigfoot. She looked at us and just kind of growled and grunted, trying to ignore us, and like they'd never seen a human before. And then they had 3 younger children, a teenager, which I called Bill after my uncle Bill that I liked. He was very nice to us. And anyway, he's no longer living, but I named him after him. And then there was a younger son, which I named Harold. And so Harold was youngster, about 7 or 8. And then there was a little female. Um, and I wasn't quite sure what to name him, but my brother wanted to name it Cindy after me. Cynthia or Cynthia. And I said, why don't we try for Cynthia? So we're going to name her Cynthia. Well, anyway, about an hour or so passed, and Dad thought that that the father Bigfoot had captured fish from the nearby stream and was trying to cook it, except the rain was preventing him from doing it. So Dad got it further into the small cave alcove and began starting a fire with a lighter. Well, these Bigfoot had never seen modern conveniences. It was like they had never encountered man before. And I said, Dad, you don't suppose we did step back in the time. That's why they don't act like they know us. And they were washing their hands in the nearby creek, and they were trying to start this fire. Well, my dad felt sorry for them and got him flat rods and placed the fish on the rock after when he finished lighting the fire and cooked the fish for them properly. And so, but anyway, after when they enjoyed their dinner, the young and Bigfoot liked my brother's transistor radio. He had never heard modern day music. And so, but anyway, the radio wasn't able to get music because if we were another time, they wouldn't have any stations or any around like that. So Brian was carrying a tote bag, and he tried his cassette player, so that got music, and the Bigfoot seemed to like that. They were quite friendly. And anyway, that Brian put on headphones on top of his head and let him listen to some of the modern rock and roll music, and he seemed to like that, and we fed him more food. And then all of a sudden, the mother Bigfoot got to be in labor pains, and the other female, we suppose it was the oldest daughter, and anyway, she took the mother Bigfoot out to a meadow or something where she could give birth in peace. We didn't see him for a couple of hours later. But anyway, as time passed, we could hear the mother moaning and groaning in the background. And mother said, should she help her? And Dad said, no, we're going to let them alone. And so, but anyway, we tried to get along with that family as well as we could. The father endured it the whole time, but he didn't seem to like humans at all. And he kept, my mother was wearing perfume, and it was kind of interesting because he kept coming over and wanting to smell her perfume. And anyway, and she had used hairspray that morning because she just got a new hairdo. It was one of those fancier styles back dating to the 70s, one of those beehive hairdos. Mm-hmm. And anyway, after when they saw the Bigfoot family, the mother and the other daughter came back and she presented my mom. She showed them the new baby Bigfoot that she just had, and it was adorable. It looked just like a baby gorilla, except it looked more Neanderthal in the face. And so, but anyway, we were trapped in this time era for about an hour. And let me tell you how it ends, but it really doesn't end because our story continues. Well, anyway, we saw the kind mist portal in the hiking trail again, and we left them all of our supplies, including the radio and the headphones for them. And Brian tried to show them how to change batteries, but of course the Bigfoot didn't know what the heck we were talking about. But anyway, we thanked them for their hospitality, and they were very courteous and very nice to us. And so they acted like they were excited to see somebody else. I think might have been the only ones. And so there's about 4 or 5 of them together in a family group. And so as we continued our journey down the trail, we took our 2 dogs with us. They made it back through the time portal. And anyway, we looked back and we saw the young male Bigfoot trying to catch up with us. And last time we saw him, he was trying to get through the portal to see if he could join us. Well, let me tell you what happened. Dad looked inside a tote bag. You remember he had his tote bag with him and he left his newspaper behind. Well, Dad would have liked to rent it, but the rain had got it kind of soggy, so he left it behind with them, not wondering what they'd do with it. Well, here's the interesting part. When we got back to civilization, we were taking a walk behind our house that following week, and there was a church behind our house, and it had a large parking lot, and they have a playground, and they have like a football field, with a stadium, for people to watch games and things. And so as we took a trip down there to the creek, Dad looked over at one of the benches and he saw a newspaper. It didn't have the same date, but it was dated during the same week as our experience happened. And we walked across that one bridge and looked down at the fish in the creek. And as it was getting toward dusk, Dad thought that he heard a howl or something that wasn't a dog. And he said, "What on earth is that?" And it was kind of woodsy area around the creek. And Dad thought in the distance he saw a creature about the size of the young boy that had maybe somehow gotten through that portal and came, and how he got on this side of town, we don't know. Maybe it wasn't him at all. Maybe it was an alien. But anyway, we saw a strange, rather almost like a 5'5" creature that was there in the woods looking back at us as if it knew everything.
Hmm.
But we saw that family again on several other occasions, so they must have come out of it all right. But the young man seemed to find his way back. But the last time we saw him, he was about a teenager. So
Wow. And that was up in Indiana?
that was in Indiana, Cliff J. Park.
Interesting.
But yeah, we've had some other experiences. Would you want to hear about them?
Yeah, keep going.
Okay. Now, this other experience I want to tell you about, the alien I mentioned, his name's Jeffrey.
Mhm.
He has followed us all of our life. And how we came encounter with him again was he has been following us, but we went up to the Whispers Estate up in Mitchell, Indiana, and we met the ghost of a little girl named Rachel. And something seemed to follow us home from, my family's all deceased by now, because every time when a member came in contact with that alien, they died. And my uncle, right before I took this trip to Mitchell, he said that he called me up one night. His name's Steve, and he was a attorney at law here in Indianapolis. And anyway, he called me up that night, and he said, "Cindy, I want to tell you what happened." And I said, "What happened?" And he said, "I had a heart attack and I may have to have open heart surgery." And then he made a joke about this alien that lives in a My Haunted doll. He has disguised himself as a entity, like as a ghost entity, when it's actually an alien. And he has hid himself inside this doll. And he made a joke about it. He says, "How's Jeffery?" And you know what happened? He died the next day.
Wow.
The only thing he said was make a lighthearted joke. Well, you can't make jokes about Jeffrey, and when you take his picture, you have to ask him if you can have the permission to take his picture. Mm-hmm. And we also had a ghost investigation on my birthday. It was in June. I was 66 years old, and I retired from Indiana State Police after 30 years of service.
Oh,
and
thank you.
Also, Thank you, appreciate it. And anyway, I was always proud of my job. But I tell you, dealing with this alien and how he killed my dad was, Dad died from cancer. The men in our family didn't start to pass on until they had some kind of, I don't know, some kind of relationship with Jeffrey. All my family members are now deceased that used to live in Indiana, and it's me and my brother that live alone here with a cat. Her name's Tilla.
Oh, cool.
She's a little black kitty, about 5 years old. She's adorable.
Awesome.
And sometimes the doll will predict other people will die in the retirement home, or let's say other people will get sick, or if you offend it, it can cause bad luck, it can cause relationships to go sour, or business deals to go wrong, something like that. It can contact with the doll, but it promised me on that ghost investigation, it said on the EVP meter that I will die if I try to burn the doll or if I try to dispose of it any other way. That I will die in 5 years, or any other kind of means I will die in 3 years.
Wow. Looking at the haunted dolls behind me and going, okay.
But it looks like a Brady Ann doll, and somebody had a homemade it. It's got a little homemade dress. It looks like a cute innocent doll, but it's not, because Jeffrey's spirit entity, whatever you want to call it, lives inside that doll.
Yeah, I have one like just that too. I have one that's
And
very active.
yeah, and another time I saw that alien was in my living room. I had another death in the family recently. I can't tell who it was because it's kind of personal. But anyway, this person died when this alien took on the shape of a doppelganger. And I have an extra wheelchair that I keep in my living room. And that thing resembled my brother, except it weighed about 300 pounds and it had a bald head, and it looked straight at me. It was wearing dark jeans, dark tennis shoes, and a red and black checkered long sleeve flannel shirt. And it was drinking some kind of a soft drink. And it was looking at me when I had another detail about a resident in the retirement home that passed away when I had that second sighting of that doppelganger.
Huh.
It predicted a couple of deaths. But anyway, now the alien either resides in the doll, and there's a tree out here in the garden plaza, and it has a figure of a gnome in it. It looks like sometimes the figure will go and vanish into that birch tree, and it has a hat like a gnome on top, and it has a long beard and two piercing black eyes and a long nose, and it looks straight at you.
Wow. That's insane.
And then another time, that alien, I forgot, and I looked at it straight in the eye, and I started having cataract trouble. Well, it almost caused me to go blind in one eye, except they were able to remove my cataract, so now I can see pretty well without glasses. At 66, I had a pretty good doctor surgeon in Plainfield. But anyway, he knows who he is. And anyway, this thing tried to make me go blind in one eye, but they were able to save me. And now I'm very thankful that I can see in both eyes. And I'm trying to get hope in retirement, as long as I can. It's kind of hard when you have to leave your home, but it makes it even harder when you have no family left.
Right. I can't even imagine.
But anyway, yeah, and Rachel's still here. And when she does it, she comes and visit me, that little girl from Mitchell, and she'll cause havoc on the internet. She'll make the TV go out sometimes, or electricity go up. And sometimes one of the nurses will say, "Well, Cindy, that's your friend Rachel." So they all kind of know Rachel, and they all kind of know Jeffrey the alien. But he's still around, and he's still causing trouble. And would you know how any way to get rid of him?
At this point in time, I mean, you'd have to maybe put him in some kind of a glass case and put him in a very protected room. I mean, if it is truly an alien and it's able to project itself outside of the doll, it could be doing almost anything. It would be very difficult to do. Like the Ed and Lorraine Warren, they had a room kind of like this room actually, where they blast out rooms.
They tried to kill me a couple times with diabetes. Getting my I have diabetes type 2. It tries to make me go blind. One time I had sent him a copy of his picture to my aunt, and I said, "Remember this?" And Jeffrey thought that we were trying to get rid of his image, and it caused all sorts of bad things. My brother had part of an ankle removed due to diabetes because of this alien, and he lost his foot about 3 years ago. He can no longer walk. And anyway, Jeffrey tried to kill him again with an infection here recently, because you know why? When I got the photograph back, I laid it on the kitchen table, and where we were eating, and I felt so guilty. I had it laying next to my brother, and he was the one who got sick first and had to have his foot amputated.
So where is Jeffrey? Is he just like sitting on your shelf?
Yeah,
Or?
he's inside. He's inside the doll, and see that ghost team that was here. They thought that if they removed the sailor doll, the first doll that he was in, that it would stop. It didn't stop Jeffrey, and he just moved transferred into the other doll. I don't think it would do any good to get rid of Jeffrey or destroy it because I think the alien presence would still be here.
Yeah. Where is the doll now? Where do you have the doll?
It's in my living room. It's in my living room.
Okay, is it in a display case or is it just sitting somewhere?
It's just sitting on the couch.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
So, but it does know, it helped me meet you. It wanted to tell you that aliens are real, and it wants to know aliens aren't coming. They're already here. They're already existing like he is observing us. They don't come in spaceships anymore. They come by a different means. I don't know what it is, but it's been here for 30 years observing us. And I have a nurse saying why my family died out. Well, now it's observing my brother and I how the aging process is because aliens don't know the process. And Jeffrey said he doesn't have a wife, but back on his planet, when they want to have, uh, children or whatever you want to call them, what he does to get the female pregnant is he takes his forefinger and he places it on her forehead, and instantly she becomes pregnant as if by a power of light. And she has children like Earth women. And when they're here, they have Earth children, the regular way by Earth women. But because alien women are done different, that's why they have to do it different. But anyway, and he says when they're here, they're vegetarians. They eat worms or some kind of vegetarian grass or something like that, or they eat fish. And and but anyway, just let you know, Jeffrey is still going on. My nurse says to tell you, "Oh, would you like to tell him hello?" Hi. My nurse says everybody's hi. Tell him Jeffrey's being bad. Okay. She said Jeffrey said hi.
Yeah.
They just say they all know Jeffrey's here and he does exist and he is causing these things.
Wow. Well, I'd like to meet Jeffrey one of these days.
Oh wow, I would. I would love to meet you.
Yeah. So one of these days we'll have to come up that way and see if we can maybe meet him.
No, I wanted to tell you, yeah, is there any way we can set a date like my birthday next year, like on June the 8th?
I don't know when we can travel up there, but if we can, it'll be probably be next year more than likely. We do travel occasionally. So
what do you suggest I do with Jeffrey in the meantime?
I would just leave him be. I wouldn't mess with him at all.
What about if I cut the doll in half? Would that stop it?
Jeez, no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't do that. You might, upset the entity. I mean, if you want to send him here, you're welcome to. I'll give you my address when we're done with the podcast, and you can ship him here.
I just don't know what to do with him. I'm afraid of getting rid of him because I'm afraid he'll attack me again. It's tried killing me a couple times. It tried giving my brother COVID twice.
Right.
You know why? Because my brother sat next to one time. I had, I told you I had the doll in the dining room, and it just went after him. I don't know why it doesn't like men. It tolerates me for some reason, but I don't know why. It's like it's studying me for, I met the black-eyed children.
Wow. Tell me about that story.
Okay, well, I met Jeffrey's sister somehow or another, and I was in my room back when my parents were still living, and I was in the bedroom. And anyway, I heard this strange noise outside my window, and I saw these two aliens in my room, and they were trying to process me for their thoughts, like they might want to take me aboard their ship. And I thought, oh my gosh, the animals ran out of the room. And my parent, I was trying to teach how to talk, his name was Petey, and he was a green parakeet, and he could say hello, 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 and then when the alien was trying to talk in that language of theirs, it didn't sound like a foreign language. It was totally unreal. It was just blips and blinks and kind of weird noises. It wasn't exactly words for me. I can't really explain it, but they were both dark skinned. They were about 5 feet tall, almost as tall as Jeffrey. Yes, Jeffrey was in the room with them. I said, "Are those your children?" And Jeffrey never answered it, just smiled kind of evilly at me. Well, this was back in 1977. I graduated from Speedway High School, and I just had surgery on my knee. It caused me to have a bad fall, and I broke my knee, and I had to have surgery on it.
Ouch.
And anyway, when I graduated from Speedway High School, I had to walk cross stage on crutches. You know how embarrassing that was?
Yeah.
And nobody knew the reason why, because back then you didn't talk about UFOs or anything like that. People would have thought you were crazy and locked you up.
Yeah.
But anyway, while the three aliens were staring at me, I saw the mothership out. I mean, not the mothership, but I saw some kind of craft outside with the lights on. And Jeffrey and the younger male were trying to take pictures of my scar on my knee because they have never had surgery like that. They use a laser beam or something like that when one of them gets injured. And while they were taking photos of my knee, you know what I did? It was sort of like a cell phone is today. It has a picture image in it. And it was showing woods before, and I thought, oh, you don't think that's from our state park incident, do you? And Jeffrey looked up at me and just smiled, this kind of the most evil smile. Like when he smiled, he had his mouth open, like you know it made some kind of shrill noise. And so, but
interesting.
Sorry, that was my nurse. And anyway, what had happened was he was having this device and he was pouring over my knee, taking pictures of it. And so finally I said, "Did we see you in the state park?" And they just looked at me like, And then my parents came rushing into the door when they heard me drop a book on the floor because I couldn't move and I couldn't get up. And I was afraid they were going to transfer me to the ship. And so when I was doing that, the bird was yelling, "Help, help!" And the parakeet saved my life because I think they would have kidnapped me then.
Wow.
And my parents rushed into the door and the lights came back on. It was a normal room, but oh boy. I thought I was really a goner.
Wow.
What is the thing keep trying to kidnap me or kill me?
I have no idea. I mean, I've heard that they just pick families and they try and take those families and do things with them. They run tests on them and stuff like that, but normally they return people, usually, from what I understand.
Yeah. I wish the aliens would use their techniques instead of harming people or kidnapping people. I wish they'd use them. They'd help others.
Yeah, it'd be nice if they could help us repair the earth and put things in
a
more peaceful state.
That would be so, so nice. But anyway, would you might be interested in?
What's that?
And that would you might be interested in doing an investigation here?
Yeah, I mean, sometime in the future. I don't know when we're going to be able to get up there. Probably, if we're going to be able to get up there, it's going to be in the next year or two. So.
I also got a photograph of Jeffrey. He's in a black and white. I can't send it by cell phone, but I can send it to your address to show this and see.
Yeah.
It can read your mind, and it can photograph pictures of what you're thinking on another photograph. Like on my grandmother's farm, when he followed us there, what had happened was I got a picture that shows Dogman in the upper right-hand corner. It looks like a framed window, where they used to have little corners, and it looks like that. And there's a picture of American Dogman in the right-hand corner. There's a werewolf in the second, and in the middle looks like a small alien couple.
Wow.
And the pictures have all come out.
Huh. Yeah, well, send that to me. I appreciate it if you would. I would like to see it.
Can you send me something with your address on it, like the Wilbur? that
Well,
I can send
yeah, when we get done, I'll give you all my information.
because I want to prove to you that I'm not lying.
Well, I believe you. I've had enough conversations with you to know that you're 100%. So, and then
I just
also,
wonder how Jeffrey's going to take the night after what I told the whole world now.
I don't know.
I just wonder what he's going to do to me. Sometimes I'll have nightmares when I see him in the room or something like that.
Wow, that's very interesting. Like I said, I'd like to meet him one of these days.
I wish you would.
Yeah.
How
No,
would you get rid of him?
I wouldn't. I wouldn't try and get rid of him at all. I would have maybe conversations with him and see if I could get some information out of him and see, what he has to offer. I'm sure he has things to tell.
Now, I'd like to tell you one last story that
Sure.
Jeffrey caused us to me. Um, have you ever heard of the incident on Catherine Island, Ketron Island, outside of Washington State? Well, it has the last name I do, Ketron, Ketron. And anyway, it concerns the story of a pilot, and he crash landed on Catherine Island. Would you excuse me just for a minute?
Sure, go ahead.
And anyway, what had happened was I just can't believe it. But all of these things have happened just because of that image. And but anyway, how I met Rich was he crash landed his plane on Ketron Island, and what happened was his spirit met mine because, like I said, I'm a psychic. And I said, Rick, how can I help you? And he wanted everyone to know that he didn't aim to kill himself at the end. He had changed his mind, but the plane had run out of fuel and he crashed, which was unfortunately. But he's one of my spirit guides, and he tries to help me with this entity. He's like a guardian angel.
Yeah, that's cool.
Mhm. But anyway, the Ketron Island was a real story.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's wrap this up. Cindy, thank you so much for coming on with us and telling your stories. And hopefully, we'll have you on again in the future if you have more stories to tell. And
Oh, I'm sure I will. Well, thank you for having me tonight.